Maybe you're thinking, I've tried a lot of things to grow my business this year so far, and it's not working. Before you assume that something is wrong with your business, you may just need to pivot. This video replay is a recent exclusive coaching session with my inner circle where I walk through how to evaluate what's working, what's not, and how to adjust your strategy moving to the next quarter as you grow your business. So grab a notepad, grab your notes on your phone, and let's go. I want us to think about how we're doing so far in our business this year since we've started the year. How's it going, and starting to prepare for next quarter, which would be the beginning of April. Right? April begins the second quarter. And so it may require you to pivot. Pivot was a famous word during COVID. You guys remember that? Pivot. We got to pivot. Companies had to pivot. Families had to pivot. We had to pivot because the world was shut down. The world came to a stop and we had to figure stuff out. However you were doing business before, however you were doing life, your routines, your schedules, we had to pivot. And so it became a popular word, but it actually was a good thing because it actually helped many businesses who got on board and realized that they had to pivot, and they did so. Those were the businesses that succeeded. Those were the businesses that was able to weather that storm and get through that pandemic on the other end stronger than they were even before the pandemic hit, because they understood that they had to pivot and they did it. Sometimes you got to get uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. Right? And that was a very uncomfortable time. And so today I want us to put our business under the microscope. Let's get real with where we're at. And if you need to pivot, if you need to switch things up, if you need to go in another direction, just know that that's not a bad thing. That's a part of the process. Pivoting isn't plan B. Pivoting is a part of your growth process. It's okay to pivot. Because what pivot actually does, what it means is that you have a vision, which you should for your company. You have a vision, your goals that you want to achieve. You have your overall goal, your big goals. But sometimes pivoting just means, it's like in basketball, right? That's a big term in basketball, pivoting. So those of you who know basketball, you see when the player's got the ball in his hand, and it's the idea. The whole objective is to get to the basketball net to score. Somehow we got to score. We got to get this ball in that net. That's the goal. And when you got defenders, when you got people blocking you, you may need to stop and pivot. Pivoting allows you to look at the overall, like, where are your teammates? Where are your players? In this case, where are your referral partners? Where are your ideal clients? Where's your next play? Where's your next move? It allows you to take a moment by moving from side to side, but you got to keep your foot planted. Because the moment you take your foot off the ground, you're moving with 2 feet. First of all, it's a penalty. It stops the game. Then the other team gets the ball. That puts them in advantage. You don't want that. So you got to keep your feet planted and look around. All right, there's the net. There's our goal. Who can I pass to? Who can I send this off to, so that they can either score or they can also pass it along, and ultimately we reach our goal. So that's what pivoting is. A pivot is a change in strategy without a change in vision. A pivot is a change in strategy without a change in vision. So you have a vision for your business, for your company, you have a goals that you set for yourself for each quarter, what your overall goal. So let's just say you want to make a certain amount of money by the end of this year. Whatever that goal is, that revenue goal, that business goal, that's still your vision, but you just may need to pivot. You may need to change your strategy without changing your vision. You see, a lot of times what happens is when we get frustrated and things aren't going well, we just change the strategy. We throw it out and we start another strategy. And then when that's not working after a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and we throw that out. And then we start another strategy. But see, the problem with that is when you're not giving something, testing that strategy long enough, you're not giving it time to grow. You're not giving it time to, it's almost like a seed in the ground. You're not giving that time for that seed to actually get the water and the nutrients and everything that it needs to grow eventually. So it requires patience. And this is why I love entrepreneurship. How many of you, tell me, throw it in the, throw me by a show of hands or throw it in the chat, a hand. How many of you feel like since you started your business, that you've gained more patience? You've become more patient. You've become more resilient. That's what entrepreneurship teaches us. It teaches patience. It builds our patience. It teaches us resiliency, to stick it out, consistency, all of these things, these character building things. It helps to develop us as individuals, and it's transferable skills because it allows you to be a better man, woman, husband, wife, parent, mother, father, not just a better business owner. You become a better person. You're more patient when your children are giving you problems, when your husband, your spouse is giving you some headaches, when whatever you're going through, when things aren't looking good in any part of your life. Entrepreneurship, this is what I found, helps you to that resilience, that patience that you develop when things haven't been going good. You're not hitting your sales, you're not hitting your quotas, the strategies that you put in place, it seems like it's taken forever, but you're still going, you're still doing it, you're still reaching after it until it finally comes. That builds resiliency, that builds perseverance, patience, and it transcends into all areas of your life. So today I just want us to reflect a little bit on, how's your business doing? So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'd love you to actually write these questions down. And at the end, there's going to be in the business tool kit in our WhatsApp chat, you'll be able to access there's a one pager that will be there for you. But these are the things I'd like you to think about this week. What has actually worked so far for you in these first 3 months of the year? What has worked? So let me give you some examples, some prompting questions. What's brought in the most conversations or the most business for you this year so far? Is it, maybe you're showing up more on social media, maybe you're doing more networking, maybe you're following up consistently? Yeah. What has worked for you so far? Sorry, what has brought in the most business or the most conversations? Maybe you're having more conversations now, more people that are interested in your services. They haven't closed yet. You haven't closed them yet, but there's conversations. They're interested in you. They're considering, they're thinking about it. They're going to sign up for your program. They're going to sign up for whatever it is that you sell. You're having more of those conversations than you did last year at this time last year. There's a couple of people I've been talking to, some of our clients in our inner circle, that said they're actually, this is the first time, like the first January, that they have been this busy. You know, usually they're not this busy, or they're seeing things in a different way. Like there's more conversations, more things, more activity in the business. Usually it's dead, but now it's maybe not booming, but it's not dead like it has usually been. So what's working for you there? Secondly, here's another prompting question for you. Where did your best clients come from? Was it through word of mouth? Was it through social media? Maybe you placed some ads this in this quarter. Maybe you just been showing up more on social media, so now you're having more conversations, and then those are turning into contracts. Maybe you're getting more referrals because you're showing up more at networking events. Here's another question to prompt you to think about what has been working for you so far. What activities felt easy for you and it has produced results? And then one more. What have you done consistently? What is it that you're doing consistently that has been producing results for you? It could be your schedule. Are you, are you scheduling your weeks where you have certain days where you do certain things, and as a result of that, you're starting to see some things change in your business? You're getting results, positive results. Are you blocking out your calendar? Are you saying no to things that do not really move the needle forward in your business? Right? So those are things I want you to think about. What has been working for you? So those are the questions that I'd like you to answer. Okay. Can anyone share right now quickly what has been working for you so far? Tanner, go ahead.
So for myself, the one thing that's been working the most is I've kind of did a little bit of, as you were talking about, pivot in my company. So every year I've always focused on just bringing in the most money, not being the most authentic version of myself and stuff like that. So this year I've kind of shifted it a little bit to, because near the end of my spring, I started to resent my business, not actually enjoy my business and the process. So this year I'm taking a completely different approach, which is being authentic, being very grateful for every customer that comes through, being able to be grateful for every detail, and really taking time and energy and focusing on building all those client relationships, which a lot of them I've now realized are also business owners who are now starting to send me referrals because of the way that I'm actually showing up, and they're seeing that I'm grateful and that I'm not just like another detailer that's just searching for money. I'm searching for connection in my business. And yeah, I find that has really, I'm creating more authentic relationships. I'm creating better bonds with the customers that I've already had. And then it's just also returning with bringing in more revenue, but it's also fueling myself because I feel more authentic and I feel more grateful for everything that's happening in my business. So I'm enjoying the journey, even though there's still that same stress and pressure as every year. Enjoying it and accepting it and just being more present in it has made me show up in a different way for my clients. And I feel like that's going to help me through the summer and stuff like that. And I'm really excited for this year where when I ended last year, I was debating on kind of closing down and stuff like that, where now I'm really pumped up and amped to kind of start moving forward kind of in a different approach, but feeling more appreciative of every step that is going along the way. And kind of like what you said is taking a step back and stop trying to rush it. I've always been trying to rush my business and trying to get it to like this big giant business, but I'm like, then I'm not enjoying the journey. So I'm taking that level of patience and just enjoying the parts of building it and not just trying to force it to be this big giant thing right away. Because it doesn't need to be. And if I don't enjoy the journey, then I'm just always going to be bitter against my business. So I want to just, kind of slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also give a little bit more into it just as a personal approach instead of just a full blown business approach.
Love that. That's powerful, man. What you just said, being grateful. So you changed your mindset, right? To being grateful. Same, I think you even said same situation, same problem, same business, same services. Everything is the same, but you changed your mindset, your attitude, your outlook on things and your customers. And I love what you said. As a result of that, you showed up differently. You're showing up differently, and then you're seeing the results and feeling the results. That's amazing. Love that. Love that. Anybody else want to share something quickly? What has been working for you so far in your business? Anyone else? And that's one of the reasons why I like to, every Friday, you notice I've been putting out there, share your wins, because that also helps to keep us motivated and encouraged, right? Excuse me. It doesn't have to be anything big. Small wins, that even tiny wins. In order to get to the top, you have to take steps. You can't just get from the bottom right to the top. It's step by step by step, right? We have someone in our inner circle that has climbed the CN Tower every year. So for the last 5 or 7 years, I think it has done the CN Tower climb or whatever it's called, right? And she's trained herself, and at first, when she first did it, wasn't that great, but year after year it gets better and better, right? She goes higher and higher year after year, even faster and faster. But it starts with one step, step by step by step. I got a thing behind me that says, it's from Rocky. It says, one step, one punch, one round at a time. One step, one punch, one round at a time. And I love that too, that's basically what you're saying, Tanner, is that you're pacing yourself one by one by one and just getting better there. Awesome. Wonderful. So that's what's working in your business. I want to take a moment out this week and think about what's working, what has worked in your business, right? What is working? And here's the other thing too. When you do this will also encourage you. Because sometimes you feel as you're going and, oh man, nothing's working, nothing's happening. I'm not seeing the, but when you take some time out to really, and especially when you write it down, what is working? What has worked so far? Then you start to realize, wow, actually it ain't so bad. It's not as bad as I thought. Okay. So I want you to take some time to think about that. What is working? Now we want to do the opposite. What hasn't worked in your business this quarter so far? What hasn't worked? And I'd like you to ask, questions like, what did I try that produced little or no results? What did you try that produced little or no results? Was it a certain marketing program? Was it maybe you switched up how you communicated or talked about your services, how you help people, and it's like, oh, that's not quite it. It wasn't hitting the mark, right? What was it that you did that produced little or no results? Here's another question to answer that. What's not working? Where are you spending time with no return? We talked about that a few weeks ago. Proximity. You want to be in places where your referral partners are or your ideal clients are. You don't want to be just going to every networking event and, just to say you're going to all these places and at the end of it, there's nothing to show for it. You want to be in places and spaces where your ideal clients are and where your referral partners are. So if you can think of any place that you've been, or anywhere that you're going, or anything that you're doing that's really that you're spending time on, maybe people that you're spending time with, and there's no return, they're not moving the needle forward in your business, it's not helping you to become a better person. Think about that. Maybe. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah.
Because recently I've been doing a lot more networking, which is really good because that's helping me to expand my part of the business in financial consulting. But what comes out of networking is connection. And I know that you talk a lot about, it's important to network and it's important to make connections. But I did make a few connections where I said, yeah, it'd be great. Let's see if we can get together and we can have a chat. But there was one particular meeting that I knew that I was going into, and there really was no opportunity for a collaboration. Because this person is in a sales role, and the sales role that they were in would not necessarily benefit what I'm doing. And so, but I still went to it, and I think I actually told you this, Mark, where I said I kind of have an idea of how this meeting will go, but I still want to hear what they have to say. And at the end of it, I'd spent almost about an hour and a half in that meeting, and I walked away with it thinking, you know what, to be quite honest, I could have spent that time a lot better because I really didn't get much benefit out of it. So I just want to make the point that although we talk about, I mean, that was the thing that didn't really work for me. So, but yeah, it's important to do things that'll benefit you, but just be, be aware of the choices that you're making.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. The choices that you're making, yes, and time, as you mentioned, Sue, the time, right? So not every appointment, I even with myself, and even Sue and I talked about this, there's a reason why I have a calendar link. And in that calendar link, if you want to meet with me personally, I have a default location because I'm not trying to. I used to do this before I knew this, where someone wants to book an appointment with me. They're in Pickering, they're in Toronto, and I'm going all the way there just for that person. That's wasting my time, especially if that appointment was a waste of time. That meeting wasn't really informative or beneficial in any way. I just wasted like half my day doing that. Your time is very, very important, right? That's what moves it moves the needle forward in your business. How you spend your time, guarding your time, right? So that may be something, if that applies to any of you, if to get a link, a calendar link. I think all of you are familiar with my links that I use that I have. It helps to protect my time, right? And also, of course, the back and forth. Hey Tanner, let's book a meeting. How's Wednesday? Not good. By the time you get back to me to tell me that Wednesday has come, and that's a whole lot of waste of time, right? Just here's my calendar. You figure it out. It'll pop up in my calendar, and I just go, right? Because time is money. So I love that, Sue. Here's another question of that may prompt your thoughts, right? Of what hasn't worked in your business. What are you doing because you think you should? Is there anything that you're doing in your business this quarter, anything that you've done that you thought, I should, but at the end of the day, didn't really provide any results for you, any good results, positive results? You're just doing it just because you're going through the motions. You're doing it because people told you should, right? So think about that. Then I'd like you to answer this question. As we prepare for Q2, for quarter two, second quarter, in Q2, I'm letting go of whatever that is to you. In Q2, I'm letting go of. So that's what I want you to think about this. What is it that you have to let go of right here as we're still in Q1? We got 1 month, an entire month to go to wrap up this quarter very strong. What can we start letting go? of wasted time, lack of productivity, places where you're going that, to network or to, that just doesn't really make sense. Anything that's not moving the needle forward in your business, whatever that looks like for you. In Q2, I'm officially letting go of. And notice the wording there. I'm officially letting go of. Sometimes you got to use some serious words, some meaningful words with intention, because it does something. It moves the needle forward in your business. It does something. When I hear those words, right? What am I officially letting go? Like, this is official, man. I don't want no charges for this. I don't want to break the law, my own laws, right? I want to make sure that I'm doing well all the time. I want to go higher. I want to get to the top. I want to do what I got to do, right? Madura says doom scrolling. Awesome. Wonderful. Right? Whatever that means to you, whatever that is for you. All right, I'm going to give you guys 4 what I call a pivot model. And Tanner even touched on one of them a little bit. So this is, 4 categories or 4 areas to consider as you pivot and get ready for Q3. Q2. Now I'm going way ahead of Q2. All right, the 4 pivot models. Again, you're going to get the PDF for this, but I'm just going to give it to you now quickly. All right, number 1, the first pivot model. The first is the messaging pivot. The messaging pivot. What does this mean? Is your message attracting the right clients? Have you been attracting the right clients this quarter? And if you're not, hey, let's pivot quickly, because we don't want to continue going through the entire year where people don't know what we do. They don't understand what we're doing. Our conversations are not converting to contracts because people don't know what you do, right? You're not clear on what you do. Your 60-second pitch, is just kind of all over the place. What do you do? You're too vague. It's not clear. It's not specific. And it's not speaking to a pain point. We talked about that in earlier segments. You can go back to those. How do we get attention? And so on and so forth. Number 2, the second pivot model. The second part of the pivot model is activity pivot. The activity pivot. What does this mean? Are you doing the right growth activities? Are you doing the right activities to grow your business, to move the needle forward in your business? Networking, showing up online, following up, maybe hosting a webinar or a masterclass or something. Are you collaborating more? What activities are you doing or do you need to do, right? Pivot. Number 3, the offer pivot. So here's a question to ask yourself. Does your offer match where your market is right now? What does that mean? Is your offer, whatever you offer, is your pricing where it needs to be? Is it clear to your customers, like what you offer and how you deliver your services? Excuse me. Or is it too expensive? Maybe you've priced yourself out of the market. No wonder you didn't really do well in Q1, because maybe you're way too expensive. Or just it's not positioned properly. Meaning, again, that goes back to being clear on what you do and how you serve your clients, how you serve your customers. And then finally, number 4, the mindset pivot. the mindset pivot. And this is where Tanner touched on. It's changing his attitude, his mindset, his way of thinking. And as a result of doing that, it changed the results that he got or that he's getting in his business. So are you hesitating in any way, right? Do you have limiting beliefs? Oh, things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified. There are people better than me. I haven't been doing this long enough. Maybe with social media, oh, it's so much work. It takes too long. I'm not good on the camera. Are you overthinking maybe? Right? Overthinking, not executing. You took a long time in Q1 to make decisions. And Q1 didn't go as well. You didn't make the sales that you wanted to make or you could have made because you were overthinking things. You were overthinking that marketing package or your marketing plan or a particular offer, whatever that looks like for your business. Right? Should I do this class? Should I offer this class? Should I offer this webinar? Should I offer this master class? What is it going to look like? Who's going to show up? Maybe what if nobody shows up? What if I only get 2 people? Like all these things, when we overthink, it stops us. It prevents us from moving forward. It prevents you from moving the needle forward in your business. And that also leads to perfectionism. Waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the perfect time, trying to make the perfect kind of video, the perfect piece of content, perfect with all the colors and everything's got to be perfect before you post, before you get your message out there, before you, you share what you do, right? I remember there's a video. Sue can tell you this. Like one of those. A lot of times she's the one when I'm doing these. Which, by the way, I need some BTS, Sue. Can you some behind the scenes, right? She does behind the scenes of me while I'm teaching and stuff like that. I've taught you guys already. This is how you get attention, right? People need to see you in action, right? Your customers, your prospects need to see you in action. So one day she came in and I was teaching something, but my desk at the moment was kind of messy in that. And when I saw it afterwards, I'm like, oh no, I can't post this. It wasn't her fault. That was me. Like my desk is all messy. Like I can't post this. Right. And she's like, just do it. Just do it anyways. Like, would you believe that turned out to be one of my most viewed pieces of content compared to everything else that was sort of like polished and positioned properly? That was my best piece of content. I have since learned that people are not looking for perfection. They're looking for action. They're looking for results. They're looking for they're looking for authenticity. I know I sound like a broken record, but people do business with who they know, like, and trust. I'm a real person with a desk that's a little messy. But if you're getting the results and they're seeing my clients getting results, that's what really matters. Your customers getting results, your customers having that wonderful experience. Even as what Tanner said, his customers, his clients are getting a different experience from him, a different result, because that's what really matters. Okay, so those are the 4 pivots, the 4 areas I'd like you to think about when you're thinking about pivoting. What do I have to change? Right? What areas do I need to change? Your messaging. Do you need to change your messaging? Do you need to change your activity? You need to pivot a little bit on your activities. Do you need to pivot on your offers? Or do you need to pivot on your mindset? A lot of times it's right here, our mindset. This crazy mind of ours can play tricks on us, make us feel like we're not doing good, we're not doing great. It makes us see what others are doing and make it feel like we're less than, or we're not doing as good as them, or we can't keep up, and all these negative things that can go through our mind, all these limiting beliefs. That's the kind of stuff that will hold you back. All right. So we want to pivot away from that. Okay. So I'm going to have for you, as I said, there you'll see a PDF with all this. I would really please, and those of you listening to the replay, take a moment. You really want to have a successful business this year in 2026. Let's do it right. Let's build our businesses right. Take a moment. We don't want to wait until the second quarter comes, right? Especially for those of you who maybe your busy season actually starts to kick up in the spring. We don't want to wait until then. Let's do it right now where it's still a little quiet. That's why it's important to take the time. Don't waste your time with people or anything that you're doing that's time wasting. Buy back your time and use that time to really put your business under the microscope. Okay, how have I been doing in these last 3 months? What do I need to get rid of? What do I officially need to let go of? So that when my busy season comes, I'm good to go. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm already ready, because guess what? There's other things to figure out during that next quarter. And there's other things to start preparing for the third quarter. We want to be ahead of the game.